HCAM programming is supported by our viewers, thank you, and by Golden Pond Assisted Living, honoring resident choice, dignity, and independence. Our health and wellness focus keeps residents active. Golden Pond, state-of-the-art senior housing and healthcare services.
And by WPC Pest Control, a family-owned business for over 35 years. Owners Jim and Rebecca Mazzucchelli provide honesty, respect, and integrity, performing safe and effective pest control services. They service your home like it's their home. Welcome to HCAM News. Tom Nappy at the anchor desk to keep you up to date with everything you need to know about Hopkinton. On this edition of HCAM News, the annual Hopkinton High School Honors Art Display opened up at the Center for the Arts. Hopkinton resident Amanda Fauché talked about the resident-started Chamberlain-Wayland Neighborhood Coalition in town, and Legacy Farms cut the ribbon on a new road. But first, here are some happenings in town you should know about. An organization called SafeWise, who works to increase home and community safety, released the top 100 safest cities in America for 2017, and Hopkinton is ranked towards the top of the list. The organization ranked Hopkinton 15th overall in the country. Hopkinton was ranked as the 4th safest city in Massachusetts. Mass cities on the list before Hopkinton included Wayland, Norfolk, and Weston. Hopkinton was ranked as having 0 violent crimes per 1,000 residents and only 3.2 property crimes per 1,000 residents. See more, including the full link to the SafeWise list, on our website, hcam.tv. Some Hopkinton High School students participated in the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network's annual State Lobby Day. Last week, the group went down to Boston and met with lawmakers to urge support for a tobacco control bill, which includes increasing the legal age of sale for tobacco to 21 years old. The students, who will also be participating in the Relay for Life in May, made a PSA about the topic.
Especially if you look at the facts, you see so many people dying prematurely because of smoking, and you see how it leads to so many different types of cancer up to 18 have been proven.
I am really excited to be lobbying for this legislation this year. It's very important to me, especially because I read a fact that if smoking continues at the current rate among youth, 103,000 of today's Massachusetts kids will die prematurely.
The first female registered runner to complete the Boston Marathon, Catherine Switzer, received a warm welcome during her visit to Hopkinton. She made history by becoming the first registered female runner to complete the marathon in 1967. And to celebrate 50 years since the historic day, she is training to run the Boston Marathon once again this year. She was recently welcomed by the Board of Selectmen, and they declared Catherine Switzer an honorary citizen of Hopkinton. Wondering what the construction is on Grove Street? Hopkinton Gas is currently removing old storage tanks and replacing them with new ones. They will be closed during the process. Teresa Medeiros will be running this year's Boston Marathon. She is raising funds for the Hopkinton Center for the Arts with the run. She hosted a successful comedy show recently at Scioli's Pizza Bar in Milford to raise funds towards her goal. Legacy Farms opened up the North Road in the land development. Due to rain, the ceremony took place in the greenhouse at Weston Nurseries, but after everyone went outside for the official ribbon cutting at the new road, here's a look at the ceremony.
Completing the remaining items of the host community agreement, we're on track to keep 500 of the 700 acres as restricted and open land and undeveloped. Master Plan Special Permit has evolved somewhat, but retains the essential elements of the original agreement that the town made with the developer 10 years ago. At this point in the Legacy Farms Marathon, we're at the top of Heartbreak Hill. It starts now to be a race to the finish. Pulte Homes has got secondary road and other infrastructure networks to complete on the north side and 425 homes to sell. We're looking forward to the many miles left in our marathon. Site plan reviews for the 180 restricted units. The commercial site next to the assisted living units is available. The reuse of the house at the corner of Legacy Farms Road North and East Main Street, and hopefully the Legacy Farms Village Center commercial development in the near future.
That's the south side. It's bisected. The property is bisected by East Main Street, Route 135, which runs right through here. So we're right here now in the Western Nursery property. The south side, for Pulte's purposes, are pretty well completed. The new area, the north side, is up here. So this is the new road that we're opening today. Almost 2 miles of roadway. It's very significant. And then these little green areas with the brownish dots, those are our projected new homes.
So it's been truly a community, private, public partnership throughout. The grant has been very helpful with MassWorks. I thank the MassWorks committee. I thank the governor's office for that. But beyond that, I think the cooperation that we've had with the community as a whole, holding our feet to the fire to make sure we do what's right, but at the same time being cooperative in helping this come to fruition. It's not too often the community has 720 acres of land that can work collaboratively with the developer to make sure it works for the developer from an economic point of view, but at the end of the day, to make sure it works correctly for the community, from a revenue point of view, from an architectural aesthetic point of view, and fitting within the community. And we really believe that that's worked well for the community and frankly for us as well.
You have created a road. Just think about this for a minute. Boston is the community that takes great pride for being a running community. You have created a road with potential access to a trail system that is as good as any in eastern Massachusetts and maybe in the entire state. And I don't take that lightly. This is an extremely active community. We have 300 people who belong to a Hopkinton running club in a town with 16,000 people. We have school kids that learn about the marathon and running and fitness and activities starting at the very early grades. So you have created, Roy, I can envision the day when the Kenyan athletes come here during the summer to train, that they train in Hopkinton and not on the Charles River in Boston. So thank you very much for that. This is a good community, and I'm telling you, it's on its way to being a great community.
Credit Roy and certainly everyone that's been involved in that, with the trails, with just the beautiful vistas that have been able to be protected, along with some other goals of the community, such as meeting the 10% housing goal for affordable housing, which is important not only as an accomplishment, but also for the housing that it will provide to new residents to this community. It's such a wonderful place to live. All of us who live in this area know how wonderful it is, and it's a growing area, certainly. And I think that's also worth recognizing when you develop 200 or 720 acres in an area like Metro West, which is really the epicenter of economic activity and growth in this state, certainly in this region. It adds even more need for partnership, for forward thinking, and for really getting the details right. And it's really a credit to everyone in this room and beyond for helping to do that.
And even though this is just an 8,000-foot road, it's one of the biggest roads we've built in a long time. Last night I spent some time with Governor Baker, and he made a point of saying that during his administration, there are going to be more programs, more development, and more money going outside of Boston. And with the help of Karen and Carolyn, these initiatives have become quite evident locally when we see the mass plate tolling change and how smoothly that's gone. The Small Bridges Initiative, which is helping Westboro. The Lieutenant Governor's compact with the town, giving us additional resources for economic development. And in projects like this, a true public-private partnership that's not only going to give us a nice road to relieve some traffic congestion downtown, but to infuse us with some money for trails, trees, and an improvement downtown.
Brought forth developers, and the towns and cities have come to agreement about how much they're willing to put in, how much skin they want to have in the game. They've brought in private developers, and so we see our dollars as being able to kind of close up the deal, to come in the back end and say, okay, this is what the public investment needs to be in order for a Pulte or other private investors to put in their money. And so this is, I just want to highlight how this is certainly a perfect example. What Hopkinton has accomplished with the Legacy Farms North is precisely the type of projects that we are looking for, in the future to continue funding. Not that there aren't a lot of great projects, but with the limited dollars, it's important for us to be able to put forth money that's going to immediately open up and unlock development.
3, 2, 1. Ta-da!
Be on the lookout for the entire Legacy Farms North Road opening ceremony, available on our website and airing soon on the HCAM channels. The annual Hopkinton High School Honors Art Gallery opened up at the Center for the Arts. The gallery will be on display until April 11th. Here is a look at the opening day festivities and some of the terrific artwork by the students.
I didn't really think it was completed, so I took a piece of transparent paper, and then I put it over, and then I started using the pencil to do the outlines of everyone, and that's why I decided to title it The Space in Between Us, because while we're all connected, there's different things that make us different, but it's kind of about unity too a little bit, I guess, but yeah.
How long did it take you?
Probably 2 to 3 weeks. I don't really remember, it was a little while ago.
All right, excellent. How long have you been doing artwork for?
I started art classes in sixth grade during the summer, and then I pursued it in 7th and 8th and 9th, and then when I moved here, I took a bunch of art classes, and I plan on taking AP Studio Art next year.
My name is Alexander Hagan, and at the HHS Honors Art Exhibition, I have this one piece. It's a triptych of my sister. It's called, Coexistence. I used a plant to make it look like human and the plants are coming together. I have some other, mostly photography. I really like photography, and some watercolor, but everybody that put art in the show was just so talented. It was a fun group to work with. I'm going to miss them so much next year, and I hope that they keep doing art throughout their life and spreading it around.
Terrific. How long did this piece take you to make?
This piece, this is a piece I needed it the next day, and I was rushing. So I forced my sister to take some photos, so it probably took 30 minutes, but the hard part was mat boarding it. Probably took a couple tiers and a few hours, because the thin pieces kept breaking.
How long have you been doing photography for?
I've been doing photography around probably since 3rd grade. I'm a senior now. That's a lot of years. It's really fun to do with all the influences, Mr. Worrell and Mrs. Kellenberger, Miss Enos, everybody, and we have such a great art department, so it just pushes me to do it more. Common theme of faces that I
how long have you been doing art for?
Kind of my whole life. I've gotten much more into it the past few years, and it's kind of like become a real job for me. I really enjoy doing it. So.
Coming up next on HCAM News, I talked with Hopkinton resident Amanda Fauché about the resident-started Chamberlain-Wayland Neighborhood Coalition, and Matt Clark will let you know what to expect on the HCAM channels with our HCAM Insider. You're tuned into HCAM News. Don't go anywhere.
HCAM News is supported by our viewers and by Hopkinton Drug, located in this historic New England town since 1954. They are a multifaceted store dedicated to providing clients with an array of healthcare options.
And by Webster First Federal Credit Union, providing financial products with attentive customer service to the local families and businesses of Hopkinton. Visit us at websterfirst.com.
Hi, my name is Margie Wiggin, and I want to invite you to join me for my new show, Character Matters, on HCAM. We're going to talk about why do people choose the behavior that they choose? Why do they choose to be good? We're going to hear from people in history, we're going to hear from local heroes who make great choices, and we're going to hear from some puppets who talk about things they've seen, and they're going to say, "What? Did you see that?" "Yes, I did." Please join us.
Do you have what it takes?
Will you make a difference?
Always an adventure.
Police and fire working together.
Utilizing the latest technology.
Do you have what it takes?
You're tuned into HCAM News. Tom Nappy here, and I am joined by Amanda Fauché. And Amanda, you are here to talk about the Chamberlain-Wayland Neighborhood Coalition. Yes. Can you tell us about what the coalition is all about?
Sure. It's a group of neighbors comprised of the neighborhoods of Chamberlain, Wayland, Sanctuary, Charlesview, people on Hayden Row, some people on Teresa Road. And it's a group of neighbors that have formed about mid-March to come together and see if we can mitigate some damages to our neighborhood that may happen with this huge development that's being proposed at the end of our road, end of Chamberlain, and a cut-through that would connect Chamberlain and Wayland.
And how did this all get started? Was it a group of people from the area got together and decided to start this, and then they went around to get more people on board? Was that pretty much how it worked?
Pretty much. One of our neighbors, Gary Trendle, he is very involved in the town goings-on, and he's got a real good feel for what's going on. He let us know in February that this may happen. And we had just moved to the neighborhood in May from Elm Street, and there's a lot of construction going on there. So we were very upset about it. And in talking to just immediate neighbors, we decided we have to do something. We can't just sit back and let it happen. So some people from Wayland came in, and we had a meeting in our barn about mid-March and developed a plan and a course of action to try and work with the town and work with the developer to keep the neighborhoods intrinsically the way they are. I mean, they're both awesome neighborhoods, and kids run up and down the streets, ride their bikes, there are horses, cats, dogs. It's an old school, both neighborhoods, Chamberlain itself is a scenic road. It's designated as scenic road. And if a cut-through were to happen, it would drastically change the neighborhood for good, and it would never be the same.
And what do you think are some of the problems that it would create if this were to happen?
There's a long list. So since I live on Chamberlain, I know mostly about Chamberlain, but I have been on Wayland. Wayland is a family area. There are lots of kids up and down the street a lot of times. It's a cul-de-sac, so there aren't a lot of cars. Chamberlain is very narrow towards the end where I live. It's really only 10 feet across towards the end. There are wetlands on either side, 100-year-old trees, rock walls. So if they were to build that subdivision, which is the largest since Legacy Farms, they would have to widen the road. And it would cut into people's lawns at least 10 or 15 feet. And then, since Chamberlain itself is a long, straight road, it would encourage people just to fly down the road. And it would get to the end of the road and take a sharp right into the new development. The kids wouldn't be able to play on the street anymore, ride their bikes. There's a lot of joggers and walkers, and one of the trailheads ends up on Chamberlain. Mm-hmm. People would be walking out of that right into a busy road. And this is kind of a small microism of what's happening with all of Hopkinton. And even though some people have thought, like, well, maybe this is just in your backyard, but it might not be. In a couple years, it might be in your backyard, or it's a bigger problem that Hopkinton is experiencing with really quick development and approval of things without thinking about the infrastructure and pedestrian safety and traffic and school system.
So where's the neighborhood coalition out now? Where's the process now? What's the next step?
So the next step, we have a website up and running. We have a petition that's almost up to 500 signatures. And it's educating not just our neighborhoods, but all of Hopkinton about things that they can do to protect their neighborhoods and protect Hopkinton in itself. There's a big meeting on April 12th in this building, actually, that the planning board is going to be open for public comments and questions about the development. And the developer will be there to answer some questions. So even though we're not trying to say you can't develop anything, what we're trying to do is say maybe not a cut through, maybe 2 cul-de-sacs. And then that way, it won't be a through road, people won't be cutting through. You can keep the neighborhoods the way they are. So that's what this April 12th meeting is going to open up for a lot of people.
And have you heard back from anyone, town government-wise, or the developer, or anyone like that?
There's been a lot of talk back and forth between town planning board and not necessarily with me specifically, but with Gary Trendle and Phil Totino and Don Keevy, who's the other co-chair of the coalition. And the town planning board often is saying they're constrained by town bylaws, which is true to a certain extent. But the master plan talks about preserving neighborhoods. So we're in talks with them back and forth saying, listen, this is what the master plan says. Can you uphold this and try and push back a little bit on these developments? So also people have been talking to the fire chief and the police chief, and there's been a lot of calls back and forth just to let them be aware that we know what's going on. We want to work with them about it.
Well, there's obviously a good amount of people on board with this, so I look forward to seeing where it goes, and thanks so much for coming in and telling us about it.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.
To see more about the Chamberlain-Wayland Neighborhood Coalition, head over to our website, hcam.tv. A whole lot of programming is coming up on the HCAM channels. Standing by to tell you all about it is HCAM's promotions coordinator, Matt Clark.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the HCAM Insider. I'm Matt Clark, and here's what's happening this week on HCAM. On Friday, April 7th at 8 p.m., the Coffee Break hosts talk with Hannah Kruger about her marathon fundraiser on a new episode of Hopkinton Coffee Break. On Monday, April 10th at 7 p.m., local artists perform songs and poems on an open mic episode of Wake Up and Smell the Poetry. And at 9:30 p.m., poet, editor, and political economist Kevin Gallagher discusses his poems inspired by 1800s America on a new episode of Poetic Lines. On Tuesday, April 11th at 6:45 p.m., the Hopkinton Board of Selectmen's meeting will air live on HCAM TV. On Thursday, March 13th at 6:30 p.m., Margie Wiggin teaches kids the values of reverence and respect on a new episode of Character Matters. And on Friday, March 14th at 9:30 p.m., Don Kaiser talks about his love of the outdoors on a new episode of Meet Your Neighbor. And on HCAM Ed, the Hopkinton High School Drama Ensemble's production of Enchanted April will air. If you want to know more about all of HCAM shows before they air, then head over to hcam.tv/connect, where you can sign up for our HCAM Insider newsletter. Or if you want to know more about what's happening in Hopkinton, you can sign up for our daily news updates. That's all for this week's Insider. I'm Matt Clark, and as always, thanks for watching. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you, Matt. That will just about do it for this edition of HCAM News. Don't forget, you can stay up to date with everything Hopkinton by checking out our website, hcam.tv, as well as our Twitter and Facebook page. Right now on our website, hcam.tv, you can view information about many terrific community events coming up in the very near future, as well as more from the Legacy Farms North Road opening. If you have a Hopkinton-related video, photo, or story idea, I want to hear from you. Email me at news@hcam.tv. With your help, we'll cover even more of our community. For everyone here at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. We leave you now with the current community listings and upcoming government meetings. Take care, and as always, thanks for watching HCAM. HCAM is supported by our viewers and by Blackstone Valley Wealth Management, providing highly personalized financial planning, wealth management, and customized solutions through transparent, unbiased advice. Visit us at blackstoneValleyWealth.com.